This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Mike Murphy.
Thank you, Charlie. Yes, we are here with one more episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast, and we talk to local business owners so that you can get to know them as people and not just logos on the side of a building or a logo on a business card. Today, we are talking with Steve Appenfelder, and he's the owner of Adkisson Insurance in Florence. And I've asked him to sit with us and just kind of explore, what's happening in the world of insurance, good, bad, and the ugly, good news, what's up and coming, and just kind of give you a little bit of a peek into his life and what he's all about and how he can help you. So without further ado, here is Steve Appenfelder. Steve, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
So you and I were doing a little bit of a pre-show interview, and I was just kind of asking you to give a download of, do you work with personal lines? Do you work commercial? And you do both. So kind of tell me, what does your business look like as we sit here today?
It kind of shifts from day to day. But as I mentioned, kind of when you and I first met, I was definitely spending a lot of my time just on commercial insurance. But with changes in the economy, the marketplace, we've had a huge increase in personal insurance. People seeing really significant rate increases, non-renewals, companies going out of business. We've had quite a few here in Kentucky that have, stopped offering insurance. So we've really seen a big shift to personal insurance, but still doing a ton of commercial work with our local businesses.
Do you have a specialty per se? You said there's more of a shift towards personal, just within, the underwriting rules today and just where we are economically, et cetera, et cetera. Is there one category that you think people should keep you top of mind?
Well, I get asked that a lot, and I know for a lot of agents, it's probably wise to really be more niche focus. I think one of the advantages that our office has is myself and my business partner, Eric. He and I were both underwriters. That was kind of how we were trained in the insurance world. Actually never really wanted to be an agent, but spent a lot of time working for a large commercial insurance company. And so, we underwrote all over the U.S., had all different kinds of businesses, contractors, manufacturing, your Main Street America stuff, florists, dentists, all that kind of stuff. So I really hate to kind of pigeonhole myself because I do feel like we have a unique skill set that allows us to ask questions and learn about what people do. And be able to take that and translate it into insurance. I think I genuinely think that is kind of our uniqueness. So, I do spend a lot of my time with professionals. So think like architects, engineers, attorneys, dentists. Dentists are a big part of our agency. We have quite a few med spas. So medical, I've been working with quite a few doctors lately. So that is kind of something that I do a lot of, but again, we might work with a pest control company today, and a restaurant tomorrow. And we can certainly, help out, all of those businesses.
Okay. So if I'm just, a local resident driving up and down 42 and I pass your building and I see your logo and I know I've passed by 3 or 4 times and my rates are getting a little high and I just kind of want to see if you can help me. Yeah. Can I walk into your office or do I need to call you? What's that look like?
Yeah, so I am here Monday through Friday till about 4:30. So absolutely, we moved here to Florence and particularly this office to make that more accessible. I probably should have chosen a little different area since there's about 45 different insurance options right outside my
Mhm.
door. But yeah, I mean, we love for people to stop in and chit chat. I think, for that kind of person, I think one of the things that you'll find, again, that maybe sets us apart, we're not going to be a fit for everybody.
Mhm.
But what we can do is we can exhaust all the options that we have available, and we can give you some helpful information, if we're not a fit for you, that will help you find the right fit. We pride ourselves on understanding the market, what other carriers are doing, what other agencies are doing. We have partnerships with other agencies. I have an agency, a State Farm office that we work with quite a bit. That if they have, say, a client that maybe decided to start a business and it's not something State Farm's able to do, they want to maintain that personal relationship and they don't want to risk losing it by having that client go to another agent. And so that's kind of what we offer. We generally are here to help. And so, for that person that's looking, I think it's always worth stopping by, letting us at least look things over. And again, if we're not a fit, we'll help you find a place to go that will be a fit.
Okay. I know there are people out there that maybe think that they're uninsurable, or they just don't think they can afford to insure their vehicle, their home, whatever. So
Yeah.
they just sort of let policies lapse and then they just don't pay.
Yeah.
And that's a bad place to be. So to those people, what would you say to them?
Well, I think a lot of people gain perceptions of cost and insurance and those kinds of things based on maybe some not so great situations. So maybe you're not at the right agency. Maybe you're not working with the right people. That's probably, if I was going to tell folks, like, there's one thing that you should focus on when it comes to insurance, it's find the right person, right?
Hmm.
Find somebody that's going to be honest and not just sell you a policy, but actually advise you on how to make that policy work for you. Right now, sometimes that might be advising you not to file a claim.
Okay.
Insurance companies are really, really cracking down on that. Even, in cases where in the past, yeah, no problem. A towing claim, for example, little tidbit for people to use. We are strongly recommending that people stop using the insurance for roadside assistance stuff. Go out and find AAA, Auto Club, something like that. Use those programs for things like roadside assistance because those are still claims. But knowing those kinds of things and how to position yourself,
Hmm.
yeah, it could be a little painful today, but with the right advice and taking the right steps, we can help guide you to where those costs are more favorable. We can help find ways and give you recommendations to maybe fit that within your budget so that you're not going without, but maybe you're carrying a little bit more of that burden until the costs come down.
Okay. So as you were explaining that, I realized, in terms of what's considered a claim or not,
Yeah.
it was probably 9, 10 years ago. I had called my carrier when I noticed there was kind of like some water coming through a bathroom ceiling.
Yeah.
And as I investigated, it wasn't anything big, and
Yeah.
there was nothing widespread. But just because I called the carrier to ask a question about it,
Hmm.
I had no idea in that moment. But years later, maybe 3 or 4 years later, when I sold the house, and I was setting up coverage with another carrier, they said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! You've got this claim that you made back here. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It was that phone call that I made, just asking a simple question.
Yeah.
So one of the things I was going to ask you about is, cautionary tales,
Mhm.
in your business. And I
Yeah.
think, that's my cautionary tale. I don't know if you have any more, but, if you have a cautionary tale, or if you have a great story, something that you know, that's kind of top of mind for you when you really saved somebody because they were insured and insured properly. And if they had not been, it would have been devastating for them. Do you have any stories like that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have a slew of both of those stories. I think just real quick to your comment, I think that's probably again one of the things that we really advocate our clients when we work with them, especially when they first come in, is before you call the insurance company, call us. Let's talk through the situation, right? So that we can set up a plan on how we need to address that. Because you're right. If you call the insurance company, they're going to open a claim. And even if it gets, we were talking before the show about my client that sold their home in Wisconsin, and we're building a brand new home here. And when we went out to, try and find them insurance for that new property, we had carriers that declined to write the brand new home that they just took possession of today because of a claim that was filed during the process of selling their home. Now, had the agent been involved, and I don't know if they were or not, so I'm not going to speculate on that, but had that client called their agent first and said, here's the situation that's going on, the agent could have said, well, let's see how this plays out, right? Maybe let's get a second opinion, have a contractor come out, find out what needs to happen. And then if it gets to a situation where it's like, yeah, it's really going to have to be a claim, that's fine. Move forward with that. But then you also can understand, here's what the ramifications of that look like, and you can make an informed decision. As far as, we've been really lucky not to have a ton of terrible claims. But a client that I'll kind of mention recently was a referral from David Clegg. David Clegg.
Yep. Shout out to David Clegg.
Yeah, David.
Yep.
So a cousin of his had this restaurant, and he had it insured with a company that, if you go to their website, you would think this company, like, they specialize in restaurants. This is what they do. Was paying a ridiculous amount of money, but was going without property coverage. Now, he had $1 million worth of a property investment in his building, but because of the cost of just his general liability and liquor liability, the cost to include the other stuff was not in question. Well, we talked with our carriers. We learned about the business. We learned about characteristics, and ended up saving them almost $70,000-$80,000 a year on their costs. And that was with adding that property coverage back into. So now if there's a fire, their property isn't a total loss. So, I think that for me is what we really pride ourselves on, is we want to make sure, especially if you're a business owner, homeowner, it doesn't matter. We want to make sure that your investments and the things that you've worked hard to build are being covered, and being covered correctly. We don't want you overburdened. I like to tell people that you have a bucket of money, and my job is to make sure that we use that bucket of money as effectively as we can to make sure that we're covering. You could spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and, cover every possible thing. But what we want to make sure is that you're covering the most important things, but also being cognizant of the cost that that's placing on you.
Okay. Well, you're covering not just home, auto, businesses, you're covering families. So speaking of families,
Yeah,
you have a family, correct?
yeah, I do. Yes.
So what's your family look like? Who do you call family?
Yeah. So my beautiful wife Margie, she is a therapist. So she 3 days a week she has her own practice. And then we've got three lovely young ladies. We've got Evelyn, who is in 7th grade now, and then our middle child, Elena, just started kindergarten, and then Emmy's the youngest, and she's in preschool.
Okay. Just wait till they're at that bubble of junior high and high school. Man, oh man, that's going to be
Terrifying.
some fun days in your house.
Yeah. Well, we're close already. 7th grader is rapidly approaching that.
Yeah. So when you're not thinking of insurance and you're, getting away from the office,
Yeah.
what's fun to you? Do you go on vacations? How do you spend your time away from the office? Having fun.
Well, I'm not sure what a vacation is. As an insurance business owner, I don't do much of that. But we do try and find time. I've got family in Ohio, and so we try and break free and do that. A lot of my wife's family is all here in Northern Kentucky, so we're lucky that we get to spend a lot of time with them. We've got a great group. We call them our church family, our group that we meet with, and so try and spend a lot of time with them, and working with our church family.
So, what church do you attend?
We go to the Vineyard over in Camp Ernst.
All right, I have a lot of friends that attend that church.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier in passing a partner. Who's your partner in the business?
So his name's Eric Beckman. He actually lives over in Ross. Actually was just nominated to the school board over there. But he and I had a very similar journey. He and I both started at Cincinnati Insurance as underwriters. We both spent the same amount of time there, and we actually never even knew each other while we were there. Ended up meeting. We both took a remote underwriter job with a small mutual company called Guide One. And it was kind of funny because I thought he was my competition, for the job. I was like, how is it possible that I recognize somebody in Des Moines, Iowa? And then I was like, I bet he's applying for the same job. So turned out we ended up both getting positions there and became good friends. And right when the pandemic hit, I felt like I was being called to start an agency and work with the actual consumers. And shortly after that, I enticed him to join me on the agency side. So he kind of helps run the Ohio side of things, and he does come up once a week. But yeah, he's been we've been friends for since 2018.
Okay. Well, if somebody wants to know more about you, they have questions, they think that maybe you can help them.
Yeah.
What's the best way for them to reach you?
All my contact information is on our website. It's just adkissoninsurance.com. You can certainly call us here at the office, or like you mentioned earlier, I'm typically here throughout the week. So certainly always welcome to stop by and say hello. Bring your paperwork and I'll take a look at what you have.
Okay. Well, very good. I'm meeting with a lot of business owners, and we're doing these podcasts, and I help local businesses in many other ways. And I know that many of us are friends with, others in business here. Yeah. We know each other through B&I groups and just through doing business together. Just for curiosity's sake, do you have a best friend in business? Who's your best business buddy here in town? Because I know you're a friendly guy. I know you have friends. I know that.
I do. I mean, you're right. I have been very lucky to develop a really strong core of local business contacts through our B&I group. A lot of them are like Kelly works for Drees. She's been a great resource for me. Jewel Buckley with Euler Hines. Anytime I have clients looking for a home, I always refer them to her. Obviously, David Clay, I mentioned him earlier at Allie's Walkabout. I could really name a bunch. Quentin with Lifetime Financial. He's a great resource when obviously being an insurance agent, I can sell life insurance. I can certainly help people with basic life insurance needs, but when it gets to more complex things, he's somebody that I refer to quite a bit because that's his area of specialty. So I could really list Jenny Trosper. She's a great friend of mine, health coach. Just a really awesome friend. So I have a lot of people from that group that I love to connect people with because I do know them personally, not just as business people, but I know them personally, and I know that anybody I connect with them is gonna appreciate the value that they bring.
Everybody that you just mentioned, I know as well. I know them personally, and I think very highly of them all. In particular, Jewel, her name is Jewel for a reason.
Yes. She's an awesome lady.
She is. All right. Well, on that happy note, our time together has come to an end.
Yes.
This is a quick 20 minutes, actually 22 minutes. Yeah, it does go by fast. So thanks for sitting down and spending time with us and explaining a little bit about your business and letting people get to know you a little bit better. One more time, if somebody wants to reach out to you, what's your phone number?
Phone number here is 859-341-2663.
Okay, very good. So I'll see you at some point, maybe at a BNI group.
Yep.
I'll see you around town, but I'll certainly see you online. We're both pretty active on the social media. So thanks for spending time with us. And all of you out there listening, I'll just say we'll see you next time. But until then, everybody out there, be good to your neighbor. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Union. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpunion.com. That's gnpunion.com, or call us at 859-651-8330.